Good morning, Desert Sands Unified School District. My name is Sean Webb, and I'm your Director of Community Engagement and the Foundation. Well, you're welcome to the episode 27 of Classroom Conversations today. Geez, who would have thought that we started this in May? It's now turned into this. But we want to go ahead and start off the show by thanking the Desert Sands Educational Foundation for providing this format for us to be able to have this. And I want to go off and read their mission statement. The Desert Sands Educational Foundation secures funding and awards money to provide supplemental resources that enrich and enhance student learning in Desert Sands Unified School District. And they do that in partnership with the public and private sectors. Desert Sands Educational Foundation financially supports creative and innovative programs that enrich and enhance the educational experience in the academics, the arts, and the extracurricular activities that engage all students and staff in DSUSD. And we do this with partnering with our schools. We do this with partnering with our different departments and our community in a whole. And especially we partner with our business community. And in the months to come, you'll see some of the different things. In the episodes to come, you'll see some of the different partnerships that we have with the community. Today, we're going to highlight our own partnership with Desert Sands Unified School District's Nutritional Department, but we'll get to that shortly. But before we move on here, I want to go ahead and bring on Chef Mary with me. Good morning, Chef Mary. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I'm cold and I'm fine.
You're cold and you're fine. You know what? I'll share with everybody. I was just up in Big Bear for a long weekend. I got to see Chef Mary. We did a social distance thing on the patio where we had some fun there, and it was freezing there, Chef Mary. I'll tell you, to see it go from 60 degrees to drop to 20 degrees in a matter of seconds was unreal.
Yeah, once the sun goes down, it is like it's cold. There's no snow. I think they were praying for snow.
Yeah.
And right now it's not really windy. I think we seem to always be on the other side of town. Yeah. I know there was a lot of wind in the lake area, but we're still like light breezes. A lot of leaves are falling. The sky is really, really blue today, so it's beautiful looking through the pine trees.
Okay. No, our experience with the pine trees Sunday night, I just kept on waking up because they just kept on hitting the roof. And I was like, what is going on out there?
Yeah, I know.
So we had a little bit different experience Sunday night.
But it was good to see you. It was fun to have you come up here and visit our community and see what it's like to live in the mountains.
Oh, Tara and I absolutely love it. It was my mom's first time up there, and Dawn loved it. And Brooklyn just loves exploring the backyard. So it was a lot of fun, definitely.
It is.
But we got some excitement today. Let's go ahead and get to our topics. We're going to talk a little bit about CamFest a little bit more today. So, Mary, you won't believe this. So we sent out a press release. You got to love our department at CamFest. That Christy has got some amazing people that are volunteering their time with us, as well as we have our own Mary Perry that are doing things with press releases. And this most recent press release came from this. Oh, geez, that's not supposed to show up there yet. Sorry about that. Let me got some issues here. Our very first press release came out, and this was on Yahoo Finance. Of all places to carry us, I was thinking, wow, that's pretty amazing. Yahoo Finance picked us up, and they're talking about our event. This actually came out last Wednesday, and it hit my desk over the weekend. But it's great that our communications team here at the district and our volunteers that are working with CamFest and Christy and her team and so forth, the vice president of the foundation, the chairwoman of this great event, that they're all working together, and we got great things going on, like to Yahoo Finance. Who would have thunk? This goes all over the world.
Well, I think that they're looking for positive news, something kind of fun, something involving our young people, to give people something to think about, that we're actually moving forward with creative ideas.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely. So I also want to talk about how we have our official CamFest page on Instagram. We can click here. This is what we got going on Instagram. And as I said, I'm working with the social media team that works with one of the biggest music concerts. Geez, I can't even speak right now. One of the biggest music concerts in Orange County called Kaboo. And she's working with us to help put out everything great social media. So I won't share it today, but basically there's a topic for content, a topic for text, and hashtags, and I just pull from that and I go ahead and we post it. So I don't run this CamFest page, but I run the DSEF pages that kind of copies the information here. So we make sure to get the information go out in multiple areas. Yeah, pretty cool. And then before we have our guests come on, I want to go over the Goldfish Bowl. So I shared with you that I was successful twice, once at Palm Desert, once at La Quinta, where we got money out of the Goldfish Bowl. And this year they're giving up to $3,000 per project. So we have our application deadline coming up on November 2nd. If you go ahead to our DSUSD website, you can access the application here. Really simple. It's all electronic. So you can add in your application right here. The best part, it's a video that you submit, a 3-minute video. So for our families that are watching, Chef Mary, if you have a son or daughter or somebody that you help out with that's in our schools and you have a creative, innovative idea that needs a one-time funding, please have them contact their teacher, shoot them an email, because it has to be a project that's worked with students and the staff together. And that they have to submit all of that criteria here. And which, it may look like a lot here, Mary, but I'll tell you, it's the name of the project, the school. These 4 sections are who your team members are. You check this box that you talk to your principal, and then you load the 3-minute video.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's simple, right? So if you have an idea that needs, possibly some one-time funding, as well as you can show to us how you're going to sustain this project, go ahead and apply. Please, please do. And some of the projects we've had in the past, you can see here. So when we had our first virtual event in spring of 2020, let me pull full screen here so you can see it a little bit better. We gave out, let's see, 6, 10, they gave out $15,000 last spring in the first virtual event, Chef Mary. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, Monroe Elementary got $2,000. La Quinta Middle got $3,000. La Quinta High got $4,000. Jefferson Middle, they're going to be doing some gardens, $2,000, and then Carter Elementary got $4,000. So it's pretty awesome how this has happened. And if you look all throughout the years, all the different amounts that they've given out, starting back from the fall of 2017, and I'd like to say that was my first year that I was with the Goldfish Bowl, where we applied, and one of our students from La Quinta High won $250. You might be saying, well, that's not a lot of money, but that $250 did a patent research. Who is it? Joe Wallace from CVEP partnered with him, and that paid for the research to see if his product was patented or not.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I mean, nowadays every little penny helps.
Oh, definitely. Most as you're part of the foundation board, you definitely know that now too.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah, and especially a lot of these people here. These are some of the sharks. We call them the goldfish. We kind of model this after Shark Tank. We've had Tim Bradley in there. John Hoffner, he's one of our friends that we met at the Cliff House in Biff. Brandon from over at Brandini Toffee.
Brandini, yes.
Yeah, our friend Kelly over at the Ritz-Carlton in Ranch Mirage. We've had some great supporters of the Goldfish Bowl. And this upcoming time, from what I understand, we got a new judge that's going to be joining us. And I would love to share the information, but I haven't got permission from Mary Perry yet. So I definitely won't. I won't share that yet. But we got to love that Jan and Mary are watching. You can apply for the Goldfish Bowl by going to that website there. Very simple to do. As I shared, very simple. All you have to do is walk through the application, put in the name, the school, who's the team members, and your 3-minute video. And it doesn't have to be a perfect edited video. It doesn't have to be ready for cinema. This is just something that needs to be put together. 3 minutes that shares what your project is, what the vision is, how it's going to help out learning, how it's going to help out your classroom, and how it's innovative. And you could easily do that in 3 minutes.
Yeah, and I think with all the time that the kids have had with all the various other media, doing the dancing and making things, and the kids have gotten really easy, and they go about it without any issues whatsoever. You just start dancing or making a costume or cutting things out. So that should be a real simple process, because these kids are real creative right now and they should use this.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'll tell you, I just got word on social media, Mary, you got to love her. She said I could share about who our judge is. So our newest judge is going to be part of the Goldfish Bowl, is a local community person, a good friend of mine, person I met through Leadership Coachella Valley. He's a local lawyer, and he also has his own social media show called Unbillable. And, Mary, you and I, we've done 27 episodes on the Desert Sands format. And we've done, I think, probably another 20 episodes prior to that. So almost 50 episodes. Amir is on, get this, over 200 episodes of Unbillable.
Oh my gosh.
Over 200 episodes of Unbillable. And he's going to join us. Amir Afsar, he's a lawyer here in the desert. He is on the board with the Rancho Mirage Children's Museum. I believe he's the board president there, as well as just a great guy in general. So we're looking forward to have him be a part of the virtual process.
Yes.
And that'll be a lot of fun. And you actually met Amir when we had the, let's see here, I did a Facebook post about it today, where La Quinta High School hosted Leadership Coachella Valley, where they did a speaker series with Tim Bradley.
Yeah.
Remember Tim Bradley? And with Tim Bradley, Amir is the guy that interviewed him.
Yes, I remember that. I saw that. I saw that earlier. Yep.
Yeah. So that'll be a lot of fun. That'll be a lot of fun to have him as one of our judges and so forth. But let me go one more step here. We want to check out our Twitter page for Desert Sands. What's going on here? This week is Red Ribbon Week, where they're promoting Be Happy, Be Brave, Be Drug-Free throughout the whole week. We have different speakers and so forth that are going to different classrooms. I know that, one of our schools at John Glenn Middle School has an Olympic athlete that is speaking to them about being drug-free and so forth. So, yeah, pretty awesome. We have this information here that we talked about the LCAP last week with Mrs. Wood. Make sure to go on and take your panorama survey. Very important to participate with this. This will help drive, where we put funding and so forth. So we definitely want to have people do that. Virtual college fair is still going on. You got to love our friends over the Ucan Report that reported that. Mrs. Wood sharing out some more information about commit to digital citizenship. We had our friends on last week talk about digital citizenship and what that looks like and how families can be more involved with their students and so forth. And then lastly, you'll be happy to hear this. We talked about this last week. I said it earlier again. We retweeted it. So, Mary, we broke the information about the LCAP survey coming out. And then as soon as we were done with our episode last week, they pushed it out to everybody. So we kind of shared it first. So we were the first ones to have it out. So I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah.
We're in the know.
You know what? We're in the know. We are in the know. But speaking of in the know, why don't we find out a little bit more about our nutritional services? And today, who we have with us is one of our nutritional services managers who, I see that I didn't finish it off here. We got Meat Chef Carlos, AKA, and I'll let Carlos do that himself to give you his AKA as well. But Carlos, how you doing?
Good morning, Mr. Sean Webb. Hi, Chef Mary.
Good morning, Chef. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking.
Excellent. So I said Meet Chef Carlos, AKA. Can you tell us what your official title is with Desert Sands?
My official title is I am the Nutritional Services Chef Manager at Desert Sands.
Okay. And with that job, I know that your office is in the kitchen and you've got those big old headphones on. Maybe you could explain what's going on in front of you right now.
Yeah, this is not a fashion statement. Let me just say that much. Central Kitchen is such a large building. It's very loud in here. And I've tried a couple different ways when we have these meetings, which is now the way to meet. But I've tried hardwired. I've tried the speakers on the computer, and nothing works as good as this because it separates the sound. So what we're doing today, we're getting ready for tomorrow's service day. We have the machines running. We use a sleeve wrapper. We have the air curtains going. We have pallet jacks and a forklift moving in and out. So it's a very, very loud environment, and it takes a lot to make it as successful as it is. But we really have a great group of people that make this happen with us.
I gotcha. So I jumped right into this before you introducing yourself. But why don't you tell us a little about Carlos? How long you been with the district? What your job entails and so forth, and just kind of who is Carlos?
So I've been with Desert Sands. It would be 3 years in January. Time flies, let me tell you. In this environment, time just is of essence. But my responsibilities are mainly we have to deliver food to all the cafeterias, regardless of what's going on. So there's a total of 32 team members at Central Kitchen. We also have warehouse staff and drivers who help us connect the dots. So Central Kitchen is responsible for providing 100% of the food for all elementary sites within Desert Sands School District. Middles and high schools stand alone. They're independent. They work as satellite kitchens, so they do their own stuff. but we still provide, I mean, in regular school year, we still provide suppers, supper meals for them, specialty salads, rice we make here in massive batches and we ship out to all the sites. So we're all connected somehow, and that's how
Wait,
we make it work.
wait, I got a question. You said you made rice for all of the sites. What does a rice maker look like for that many students, and how many pounds are you making at once?
Oh, we a run of rice for us is about 600 pounds of rice.
Oh, jeez.
We actually have to break it up. We bake our rice. It's brown rice. We
Okay.
bake it in the ovens. We use a total of 8 ovens. And because it's so massive quantities, we have to cool it down. We have a blast chiller, but we also use a freezer the size of it's about 800 square feet. And that's how we have to cool it down rapidly so that we don't have any bacteria growth in it.
Okay. No, I'll definitely share them. Maybe I'm not supposed to share this. That I loved using the freezer at La Quinta High School in the culinary department. And any hot day, if you couldn't find Mr. Webb, that's where I was for about 5 minutes. I may come out with icicles hanging off my nose and so forth, but it definitely felt really good after a hot day.
I've had a chance to be inside the culinary arts program in La Quinta High, and I still say to this day, they have the Cadillac of all kitchens in the desert.
Oh, I know. It is, after leaving the school and then, working around in various places, what's kind of interesting is the kids get used to having all that space, but then when they get into a regular restaurant, it's like 1/10 of it. Then they're all like, they're all spread out. And even for me, I forgot how it was that you couldn't spread out.
Mm-hmm.
But the walk-ins are always like the scream room. You could just go in there for a minute and just go, oh, okay,
I don't know, but look at the amount of space that we have here in Central Kitchen. That's pretty awesome what you got going on there, Carlos.
There's never a dull moment in this kitchen, and there's so many things going on at the same time. I really enjoy what I do for a living, and it's kind of a perfect storm how I ended up joining the Nutritional Services team, and I'm humbled to be here.
Right.
But there are no 2 days that are like in this kitchen.
Oh yeah.
You know what? Hold up, Chef Mary. We just got a comment. I must share this. Our own Mary Perry has tasted Carlos's lasagna and said it's the best lasagna. So, Chef Mary, I'm gonna put it on Carlos here. He's got to serve us lasagna one of these days. We got to try it out.
And that's my most favorite. That is my go-to meal of all the things I like to eat. It's a big thing of lasagna, and I like it when it's baked by itself, in its own little dish.
Oh yeah, I'm a firm believer of simple food done right, and to me that type of meal, a pasta dish, a pot roast, something that just makes you feel good, and that's my motto: simple food done right. That's what I like to cook at home.
Yeah, we used to always call it Sunday food because it was on Sunday. That's when you always had like fried chicken, mashed potatoes. We always had a pot roast or something that was cooked all day long on the stove. And then in the afternoon, you'd all sit down and have dinner. But Carlos, what I wanted to ask you, I've always been involved in ordering and keeping cars and inventory and whatever. How do you manage that in that facility? Do you have a number that you basically try to stay with? Because I know that you're feeding people and the numbers change.
Well, that's always the toughest challenge when you go to order. What's that magic number? And nobody knows. So what we do is we take an average of the last couple of weeks, and we have to work at least a month in advance so that we have enough items in the warehouse and in our coolers to keep production moving forward. Before the pandemic, we had our numbers down packed. We could guess within a couple of hundred servings. And of course, there's a couple of days that we run short, but we don't want to go over too much. So the idea is to find that sweet spot. And all it takes is just good inventory practices, very little waste, if any at all, comes out of this kitchen, because we always look for ways to cross-utilize some of the products so that we don't waste any of it. But we work with our vendors. We have very tight relationships with our vendors, multiple of them. And it's just, trying to keep your ear to the ground and make sure that you are 1 foot ahead on the other and just keep it moving forward.
I love it. No, Mary, one of these days when you get a chance, we'll have to take a tour of the kitchen because it's a little bit different nowadays. Carlos, maybe if you could talk about what meals looked like before COVID and what they're looking like now and the difference of the meals.
The biggest difference is pre-pandemic, we would send all the food ready to be heated and served at the sites. We don't have that luxury now due to the pandemic, and everything that leaves our premises has to be individually wrapped, and it's a single serving per student. So the biggest difference is before you would be able to walk into the cafeteria and get a fresh hot meal out of the speed line. Well, that's no longer the case. Unfortunately, we try to line it up as much as possible, but the goal is for us to be able to still have food available for the student body for them to take home. And whether they have a microwave, an oven, as basic of a need as they can need, our goal is to be able to meet that need or exceed it.
Yeah. And one of the coolest things that I've seen during this whole process, and we talked to Dan Capello early on during this process, was that now you guys are having local produce in our own meals. Maybe if you could talk about that a little bit.
Most definitely. I'll tell you that one of the challenges that we face daily is just finding product, period. Since the pandemic started, all school district, all major outlets, whether it's a food bank, whether it's a hospital, whoever it may be, we all went to bulk food so that we could pack, but all that product started quickly depleting. So any product that we have has to be individually wrapped. Usable fresh fruit, vegetables, they're the hardest thing to find. I know, as crazy as that may sound, because we all think, oh, summer, you have the most beautiful stone fruit, you have peaches, you have plums. But in our world, we not only have to be able to source it, we also need to be able to keep it and transport it. So if we use plums or peaches or nectarines in the style of service that we're serving, the product will end up getting smashed, contaminating the rest of the fruit, just making a big mess in how we're having to hand it out. So biggest challenge, find fresh fruit, servable, and that it's something good. So one of the ways early on in the summer, we teamed up with Mark Tadros from Aziz Farms. He came up to us with some very valid concerns and said, hey, listen, I'm here to represent a bunch of packers, a bunch of growers locally that are in the weeds. And let me just explain. They are overstocked with product that's ready to serve, but nobody can take it. So picking, packing production, it all came to a halt. The product is going to end up being dumped because nobody can use it. It will be a total loss, and I'm going to end up laying off a bunch of my employees. So what can you do to help? So in meetings with Dan Capello, our Nutritional Services Director, we try to find a way to make it work. So Mark came back to the table and found a way to get us 2-ounce portions packed, ready to serve, so that we could include in our meals. So by signing on with Mark Tadros of Assist Farms, we were able to, first and foremost, continue their date production. The dates would be utilized and would not be lost. Employers would be able to maintain their employees and not have any layoffs. But most important, we also introduced a local fruit to our student body and community that is grown in our own backyards, a product that is shipped and used worldwide, yet it is not as used as much as it should be here in the desert. So that's where that was a huge blessing in our world.
And from what I understand, that transformed into not only dates, but I remember sometimes during the summer seeing full bags of grapes that were given to our families that were picked that morning and then given out to that day to our families. So, Mary, we're talking like a 2-pound bag of grapes that families are walking away with as well as a bunch of other fresh produce that's right here in the Coachella Valley that normally our students wouldn't get. Well, they would have grapes and they would have those types of things, but they wouldn't get it from potentially a family member that picked it. And when you talk about this, Carlos, by us making this partnership, I get chills thinking about it because not only do we save the jobs of his employees are our families. His employees represent our students. His employees represent the Coachella Valley, and that's just a great thing all around. So we saved the employees, we saved some great food without having to destroy it, and then we also introduced our families to a brand new food that probably didn't even know that was right here in our desert.
That is very true. You know, the idea in the beginning sounded good, but we had to figure out how to make it work. Once you looked into the mechanics and the logistics and delivery dates and shelf life, once we figured out how we would make it work, it made total sense from the beginning. But as the process moved forward, the feeling that you are getting right now, the chills, that excitement, we felt that because as we're planning, it just kept making sense. Well, absolutely, we can help. We can make this happen. So a shout out to Mark for just knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, and he did a great job with that, and like I said, it just transformed into something great that's helping out a bunch of people in the
Absolutely.
Valley. Now, we talk about how changes with that and so forth. Maybe if you could talk about what you've had to do with your scheduling. So I'll share the footage I shared earlier. I went in there on 2 separate days because I want to make sure to get as many of your 32 employees as possible. But maybe if you could share about the scheduling changes.
Most definitely. So the pandemic definitely turned that world upside down. So one Friday we met with Dan upstairs, and the idea was for us to be able to continue to serve on Monday morning. Well, how did we make that happen? So, and this is nationwide. All school districts had to change their production at some form of capacity, and we were definitely not exempt from that. So what we did, we took our group of 32 Central Kitchen employees, and we divided it into 2 groups to maintain social distancing and health regulations set by the Department of Health of Riverside County. So we now have Group A, who works Monday, Wednesday. Group B works Tuesday, Thursday, on call on Fridays. Upon arrival, they're all expected to be wearing a face covering or a face mask. We wash our hands frequently throughout the day. We keep 6 feet apart as much as possible, and we also reduce the capacity of our break room area. Those are all things that connected with them being safe when they're away from work, trying not to engage in social gatherings, trying to do the right thing when we're outside as well, because that's also important. That's how we have been able to keep our production moving forward.
So with those large bins that we just passed by on the screen, so traditionally when you said you would send them to the schools to be heated, all of that packaging would go in those bins and just go straight to the ovens. Is that what I would understand?
We use a basket and dolly system here in Central Kitchen, and those baskets have been designed to fit in the ovens. When they pull them out, they fit straight into the speed line. So it's kind of the whole logistics of it has been thought out from the beginning to the end. That way we're not dealing with multiple containers. We're not dealing with different size of anything. It's one size fits all, middle, high school, elementary, whichever site we service.
Okay. And if you didn't see it on all those spots there's you see the rest mats that they have for our staff and so forth.
Yeah.
But you saw blue tape that were X's to where they're supposed to stand and so forth. So they have the areas marked off for our staff. So it looks like more than 6 feet far apart from one another. You guys are going above and beyond there, Carlos.
Correct. Well, again, it's trying to do the right thing, right? We are also part of this, and we want to be as safe as possible for our employees and for us as well. So we literally had to empty out the kitchen one day, take a tape measure, and just measure out what 6 feet looks like, what 8 feet looks like. Can we make it work? How many people to a machine can we set up? I mean, everything that we have done has been to actively make it possible to also keep our production moving forward.
Right, because like you said, you just guys found a way and made it work. I love it.
We got to keep moving forward.
Carlos, when I was working in the school district up here at La Quinta, I just primarily was in the teaching instruction, so I didn't really get to go into those kitchens and understand the amount of paperwork that has to go along with it. And when I was up here, even though we were only maybe making 30 or 40 items, the amount of paperwork that was required when it came out of the freezer, when it was in the oven, the temperature it came out of the oven, when it went into the hot box, when it came out of the hot box, how many pieces were left. It was insurmountable, the amount of work that had to go along with this, basically trying to feed 100 students. I can imagine in your department, the amount of paperwork that has to go with those schools and for those schools to implement as well.
You're absolutely right. Everything we do here and at any of the sites within the district boundary has to have a paper trail, no exceptions. So whether, to your point, whenever we pull something from inventory from the freezer or from the walk-in to start packing or producing some type of meal, it has to have a paper trail, temperature, distance, upon arrival, what time, what temperature did it arrive at the site. I mean, everything has to be documented just in case there's an outbreak, and we're very diligent. Our school sites, our operators at the school sites do a phenomenal job at making that happen. That way there's no gaps or holes in our bags in case something happens.
And even then, Mary, our school sites are fantastic because they know the individual diets that our students need. So not only do we feed the masses, but Carlos has to also attend to all the different dietary needs of our students too. So our staff that are on site, they not only are just amazing workers in that, but they develop these great relationships with our families where they know what dietary needs our families need.
Yeah, and that's what I found when I was up here. We not only had our regular students and the requirement of what they had to take on the line. They had to have a milk, they had to have a fruit. There were certain things that they had to put on their tray before they went to the cashier. And then you have your dietary students, which I'm sure you have. And then we had our special needs students that came with an associate that walked them through the line and talked about the food and explained what was going on. So when people just think about, like I was the cafeteria lady, and I kind of laughed about it. And then when I got in there, and I thought, this is like being a scientist, figuring out everything you had to do and where it had to be stored and how it could be sent out and who got it, and then even to feed the staff. That was a whole nother avenue of regulations and time frames and whatever. So I can imagine with thousands. I can't imagine with thousands. I was overwhelmed with 100.
Again, there's no 2 days that are alike, and never a dull moment. That you'll hear me say that often here at Central Kitchen. And you're right. Besides our normal counts, we also have a group of special diets. They're handled mostly out of Central Kitchen, and the operators at the sites also have to be aware of any students that have any special needs. In my case, as a parent, I have 2 children within the school district, and they're both allergic to peanuts. So they know before the pandemic, if they go through the line and they see something with peanut butter, you can't have it. So we also have to communicate with our nutritionist on staff as a parent and fill out the forms, go through our doctor, let them connect the dots, nurse to nutritionist, so that they know what our kids can and cannot have and be ready just in case they're exposed. So 90% of what we do is what if. But back to the counts, currently, due to the pandemic, our numbers keep growing weekly. And last week we were just shy of 85,000 meals on a weekly basis. And I believe we're going to do close to 90,000 this week.
Because I want to say during the start of this, we were doing about 60,000 meals in the spring, the late spring. And wow. Yeah. As people, I'll flat out say, as people don't see a paycheck as normal as they used to be, right? They're definitely needing the food. So we definitely want to encourage all of our families to come out to grab meals. Our students, you definitely can come in. Anybody under the age 18, we have our distribution sites. Maybe Carlos, last question for you, and then we'll let you go because I know you got, I'm sure you guys are over 2 million meals that you've served since March, and you got to do that and so forth. But maybe if you could talk about what will meal distribution look like in January when we come to hybrid learning.
We're still having the conversations, and as we drive into hybrid learning, we will definitely have to continue to adjust our operations. But we definitely welcome the challenge. That's something that we, as parents and guardians, we also need to stay connected with our school sites and with the district website for any communication that comes out. The district sends out communication via email, dial-outs, text messages, just to keep the communication open. But at some form or fashion, whether we go into hybrid sooner or later, we will definitely continue to do curbside until we're told otherwise. But expect to see curbside pickup at all the sites Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. at all the sites within Desert Sands. And once school starts, they will most likely have something upon their arrival. They're still trying to figure out how, logistics, where are they going to eat? And of course, safety is the biggest factor in this whole thing.
Now, in regards to school sites and so forth, I thought I read something about maybe 2 school sites that may be changing in regards to distribution. Is it Truman and DRA? There might be some changes.
DRA has closed down. And they've moved those meals over to Shadow Hills due to the proximity, and they're right down the street. And Summit was the other side. Summit also shut down, but right across the street we have Page Middle, and anyone that is within that area that needs to benefit from these meals can also pick up at Page.
Okay. So it's Desert Ridge Academy. Those families can go to Shadow Hills High School. And the students at Summit Horizon can go right across. You and I drive that street all the time. Just walk right across the street and grab your meals. Correct. Chef Mary, Carlos, and I live around the block from one another.
Oh, oh my gosh! So we should be off some really good food when all this is over.
I know where to get lasagna if I need it now. Carlos, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our families before we let you go? And thank you so much. This was a great interview. Great information.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I personally believe we don't do enough of this. We could all do a better job at staying communicated with the community. Times are difficult, but the biggest takeaway from this is to know for our student body and our parents and guardians, know that we are here for you. We are nothing without you. And everything that we're doing, every sacrifice, as crazy as it may sound, as hard as it may be to connect the dots and make it happen, it's all for the benefit of our students. It's very hard to learn on an empty or a half full tummy, and we want them to be able to grow academically, and just to be of service to them it makes it all worth it.
I agree with you completely, Carlos. And when I want to offer this to you guys, as soon as you guys do come up with that plan, when hybrid learning comes out, let Chef Mary and I know. We could definitely have this out here in this format here. We definitely want to make sure that our families are informed. That's the most definite, important thing right now.
Most definitely. Thank you very much, Mr. Sean Webb. Chef Mary, thank you for your support.
Oh, thank you, Chef Carlos. It's awesome to see you, as always.
Likewise.
Have a good one, Carlos.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. So, Chef Mary, you got a little update in nutritional services here. Some great things going on here.
Well, I mean, I agree with Chef Carlos when he said, making sure that kids are fed, because I think we've talked about this before, that in the school system, when they really don't have, the opportunity to have breakfast or come home and have dinner for whatever reason, we found that as the holidays started to draw near, we saw a little change in the students about what are they going to eat and who's going to feed them and do they have meals. And I would even have kids come up to me at the class and, talk about, is there any way we can take something home? Or sometimes they get something in their pockets or whatever. Right. But some of these students just don't have the opportunity that you and I have, that there's a hot meal when you get home or a hot breakfast when you get up.
Right.
And so these things I think are critical, that they're fed well. And I know that trying to get like salads and things out are difficult, the storage and the holding time on it. So you have to really, like he says, you go to, heating something up on site, just managing the paperwork. I mean, I was amazed at how much paperwork is required, not only through the government side, but through, from the district.
Right.
To follow in the event that something would go, awry, and you'd have to go back and figure out.
Oh, they could find out exactly when that piece was served, how it was served. Yeah. Not necessarily who got it, but they can definitely get a time frame.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, we just got a comment. One of our viewers. Thank you, Nutritional Services, for everything you do. I got to give them a shout out because credit is definitely due there. Yeah.
Oh, that's Lucero. Hi.
Yeah.
Who that is.
Yeah. Exactly. So, Chef Mary, Thursday we've got some things coming up. Pretty exciting. I do want to share that. So I just got this information. 2 of our school sites, and I'm going to get to go to it tomorrow, got this information that was just sent to KESQ. It was sent to Intravision, Univision, KMIR, the Yukon Report, the Desert Sun. So I just intercepted this. But 2 of our schools are going to win an Elks Beacon grant in the tune of $1,750. And I'm going to share that information on Thursday because I get to go to the presentation of the checks. They're coming out from the Elks Lodge out of Indio.
Oh, wow.
They're going to visit the 2 school sites that are receiving those funds. And from what I understand, these are to assist in the purchase of PPE specifically for their school. So, for example, with Desert Sands Educational Foundation, we've been writing grants for PPE for music equipment, right? Yep. To put bell covers on horns, to put, things over microphones, those types of things. Well, these are for, these grants that these school sites are getting are $1,750 specific for PPE for their school. So that's pretty neat. I think that's really awesome that the community is reaching out and they see that. And I'll share the school sites and I'll share the pictures with us on Thursday. I think that'd be exciting for everybody to see.
And I think it's good that we share that these organizations are doing that, because it might just spark someone else to hop in, because I know in dealing with all these organizations over the years and years, that they all have some sort of an option or opportunity or something that comes along with their charter to support a group of some sort or another.
Exactly. As well as, there's so many great organizations out here, and I've seen them just in the world, being in the foundation for the last 15 months or so forth. Just seeing that a lot of these organizations are seeing that people are in need right now, and they're even changing some of their mission and vision so they can fit the needs to help out others. Does that make sense?
Yes.
They're changing what they do so they can help out more, and I just think that's fantastic. And we live in a great community for that.
Yeah, well, I think all of this, in spite of, sort of the downside of it, I think it's like Carlos said, we're being introduced to each other's sort of pathway.
Yeah.
What you do, what you don't do, how it's done. What part of it can you be involved in? How can I help? And a lot of times I say, gosh, I didn't even realize that. And so this has kind of been like an eye opener.
Yep.
Behind the scenes, because I don't think we ever get behind the scenes.
Right.
We all see it from here, the rosy color, but we don't see the work like those ladies that work in his facility. That's a hard job to do that all day long.
Oh yeah.
Passing that food down, passing it, and you're on your feet. Unless you're really a chef in that environment, you have no idea at the end of the day, you're just done in. And then they go home to families and cooking and taking care of themselves. So a big shout out to his employees.
Well, think about it. They went from actually making food, like they said, they're warming rice or doing this or making different products in bulk, from moving around and moving their arms and doing things. It's almost being like, I'll flat out say, it's almost like being a factory worker. It seems like they're taking from here to put here to give there. And I love how everybody was able to adjust and be able to pivot to make it happen and make it work. And they're just doing a great job doing it.
And at the school system, embrace the fact that these are valued employees. They've been around for a long time, and to give them an opportunity to have income, to take care of their families, and to keep that family unit together. I think that's something we can't lose sight of. You have to be able to take care of the people that work for you, because they are like family,
Of course. And speaking of behind the scenes work, I'm going to end off on this. I'll tell you, we had some behind the scenes work happen in late September, early October, where one of our PTOs and school sites in Palm Desert wanted to still have Halloween. And they still wanted to have traditional Halloween. We know that CDC guidelines are not they're advising against having the traditional Halloween and so forth. So what they did is they reached out to the city, and Vanessa over at the city, Vanessa Major, and her daughter Alyssa, who did that great event at La Quinta. Well, Vanessa does the events at the city of Palm Desert, and now they've arranged it where they're going to have a drive-through kind of costume party on El Paseo, and that's going to be Saturday night.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'll have more information about that. I'm going to make sure to highlight information for that on Thursday so we can talk about that. But some great type of events going on. But we got to thank the city of Palm Desert. They're partnering with us. It was one school that kind of started the ball rolling here, and that snowball just got bigger and bigger and bigger. Now it's for all families, not just Palm Desert families, but for all families. Come on down, cruise El Paseo, and decorate your car up nice and fancy. And we hope to see you definitely for Halloween.
Well, Carol was telling me that they have an event in Rochester that's called Trunk and Treat. And apparently they have some big parking lot area or whatever that's all cordoned off, so that instead of having kids come into your neighborhood, it comes out of their trunk or something. I couldn't figure out what it was, but she said it's been successful. And then some of their neighborhoods are actually cordoning off their neighborhoods that only their neighborhood is involved in it. So there's a lot of creative things going on.
Yeah, I'm sure there are, definitely. I'll tell you, I did see some advertisements in the city of Rancho Mirage. They're going to have Trunk or Treat, I believe, on Halloween as well. I think that's going to be through the river, as well as our partners at the Boys and Girls Club. If I can find that information, or for the information sent to me, I'll definitely share that, because they got a cool thing going on at the Gardens in El Paseo. You know how they have the parking structure there?
Yeah.
From what I understand, it's a fundraiser for the Boys and Girls Club or the YMCA, one of those two groups. I'll definitely find it out. But you could buy a ticket, and it's a drive-through, like, horror fest.
Yeah, I saw something about that. Yeah. I did.
I'll tell you, I'll probably be too scared to go through. I don't watch scary movies.
One of the shows I saw, there was you had 5 choices: not scary but fun, kind of scary, really scary, and then scaring the pants off of you. And then you paid and you went through, and you were in your car, and they were actually videoing it, and it was kind of cool. I think it was one of the news reporters.
Okay.
It was a local one, and his 2 grandchildren or 2 little boys that he had with him, and they were filming it as they went through. And I mean, it was kind of I mean, the car wash scares me because when that thing starts moving, I don't know. Am I moving? Is it moving? I don't like that at all.
Too funny. Well, Mary, I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up, and I'll catch up with you backstage.
Okay. Have a great day, Sean.
You too. Well, Desert Sands community, thank you for watching. This was episode 27 of Classroom Conversations. We'll join you on Thursday, where I'll have some highlights of what's going on this weekend in the community and where we partner, as well as I'll share about who won the Elks Beacon grants. I think that's pretty exciting. $1,750 coming out to our schools. But thanks for watching. We'll catch up with you on Thursday. Have a great day. Be safe. Wash your hands. Wear your mask.